Let's get it. Welcome back to Power to People Radio, man, the People's Podcast, your nonstop shop for information on personal development, financial literacy, and everything and anything you could think of on being the best version of yourself. It's your host on the mic today, Hugh Huncho himself, with my
And your
main man.
co-host, Trey. Peace,
Yes,
power,
sir.
and
Yes,
love to the
sir.
people out there listening. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We
So basically, we
back.
tapping back in the free game part 3. This episode, we're gonna be talking about entrepreneurship and your mindset, and basically, like, honestly, just giving y'all some sauce, right? Giving y'all some sauce. We thought about this as our follow-up episode from the previous one, talking about business credit and personal credit. And honestly, I'm just really gonna pass off the mic to the main man himself, Trey. He ran a
Yes, sir.
business for quite some time, and he could really talk about like what you need to do to get yourself in that entrepreneurial mindset.
100%. And real quick before I start, if you guys didn't listen to the last episode, we definitely recommend that y'all tune in because we dropped a lot of knowledge and a lot of jewels as far as how to build up your credit. Also talked a little bit about business credit, so definitely don't want to miss out on that. Definitely go check in and tune out to that one. But yeah, man, as far as anyone who is looking forward to starting a business, I want you guys to know y'all are in for a rude awakening.
Nah, for real.
Everybody on Instagram, everyone on Instagram, shows off the highlights of their businesses, and I would say the end result as far as actually reaching that profit margin and having that cash flow come into where they're not really showing the hiccups of the actual business. So it's equivalent to having a baby. I'll be honest with you. I know you guys probably heard that term as far as it being compared to that, but they not lying when they say it's like having a baby. I'm being honest with you. So like I say, I just want you guys to understand that part of it first. It's not all glitz and glamours, especially starting off.
Hmm.
It's very, very difficult depending on what business you're in to actually, number one, possibly start making income, or number two, make your profit and make the money that you invested back, right? So there's a lot of things to keep in mind. Number one, before starting a business, I would definitely recommend everyone do their due diligence. You don't want to rush into things just like you don't want to rush into having a baby, right? You want to make sure you're actually in position. Number one, you want to make sure you understand what comes
Hmm.
with having a baby. What are they prone to doing? What might happen, right? What are the good and the bad things? What are the pros and the cons of having this baby of a business that we're talking about, right? So those are some things to keep in mind before starting. But to give a little insight about what I'm in a trucking business, um, box truck to be specific. Anyone trying to get started with that, there's a lot. There's a lot to go into that. Number one, you want to have your MC. You need to have. You also need to have your authority, which is also your MC, and you definitely want to have your DUNS number. I can't think to ask a question.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, as far as entrepreneurship, what would you say could be one of the hinder? What are the factors that make a lot of people who start entrepreneurship either quit or don't see success? What would you say that is, Trey?
The reason why people, yeah. So I heard your question. Yeah, the reason why people quit is because they don't reach their profit margin, right? Or they don't make profit, and they don't reach the end goal in which they're trying and aiming towards, right? That's the reason why they quit. And your second question was, what's the reason why they're not successful? I mean, if we're
Hmm.
talking percentages, there's statistics that show that majority of businesses fail within the first 5 years. So I mean, it's not surprising if a business fails because it is a risk at the end of the day. Like, let's be honest, not every single business that opens up is going to be successful and is going to be super profitable. There's even people out there who are super business savvy that have started businesses that have failed, right? So the biggest takeaway I would give as far as advice, if someone starts a business and it fails, to have a mindset of the glass half full. Why? Because this is a learned lesson. This is not you taking an L and meaning that you're a failure. This is you learning a lesson. Now you can have this to look back and analyze and see where exactly you went wrong, right? Versus someone who has no experience, who never started a business, and who might not know exactly where to go. You understand what I'm saying? So this could help you pivot into something else, into having a whole nother mindset, a whole nother mind frame with another business, or it could be the same business, right? It's just like a relationship. Are you going to stop dating just because the relationship failed? Are you going to be single forever? No, right? Everyone wants companionship. Everyone wants that partner. So what are you going to do? You're going to analyze what you did wrong in the last relationship. You're going to work on yourself so that way you can attract a partner to, you know, be more fulfilled and last longer and have longevity within the next one, right? And then if that one doesn't work, then you do the same thing. It's the same thing with a business. You understand what I'm saying? You want to definitely self-analyze if it doesn't work, and you want to see exactly where you went wrong, to answer your question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
No, that's 100%. Right. I think something else that could, cause people to like either quit or not see success is maybe um, not properly preparing. Right.
Mhm.
I live by this quote: "Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance." And I think a lot of people, when they start businesses, they're not prepared, whether they don't have enough capital, whether they don't have the right mindset, whether they don't have the right, or maybe they don't have the right team, right? Whether they don't have the
Right.
right vendors, and they maybe try and jump into it, thinking about it as kind of like it's not like a job, right? A business is not like the more time you put in, the more money you make, right? It's not the same thing, right? A lot of times you got to put a lot of time in first, and that before you see a dollar or a penny or a dime. And this can actually go into our next talking point, which is known as like the compound effect. A lot of times people they start their businesses and they're putting time in, right? They're putting work in, they're building clientele, right? Or they're building their brand, they're building their name for themselves. And maybe they might not see the money or the revenue that they want just yet. And they realize they haven't really fully tapped into that compound effect, right? Which basically the compound effect is kind of like a linear thing. Like for the first couple of years or even the first couple of months, you don't really see a lot of momentum, a lot of progress, but then very soon there's exponential growth. It starts kind of going upwards, right? It's very the same thing with like the power of compound interest, right? If a penny
Hmm.
starts doubling on itself, you get $1 million within less than a year, right? How is that possible? Is because through time, right, things starts becoming a lot
Within
easier.
30 days,
You said what?
within 30 days, if a penny doubles every single day, you'll get, I believe, like over a million. Yeah.
Within 30 days, so not even in a year. Look at that. Look at that. You feel me? Um,
But, but
so yeah, I think that's
real
honestly really
quick.
what it is. I think a lot of times when people get into businesses, they might not have done enough research, or maybe met enough mentors or people that are also in that same field for them to be able to bounce back and forth ideas. So proper preparation, I'm telling you, that's going to prevent a lot of bad performances when you get into the game.
And the fact that like a lot of people just give up too early. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's going to take a great amount of time for you to weed out a lot of things before you might even see your first sale or your first dollar. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
that could be very upsetting to people who's used to working a job because they're used to getting paid on a weekly or biweekly regimen. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So for that person who's looking for the compensation soon, I would say switch your mindset a little bit. Now, I understand the fact that everyone wants to see some sort of compensation for what they're doing in regards to business. However, it takes some time in order for you to build that up. So I'm glad you mentioned the compound effect because man, shout out to Darren Hardy. He's the author of the actual book Compound Effect. If anyone doesn't know about that book, I highly recommend it. It is a phenomenal book. Definitely, I don't know about I don't know about top five, but definitely
Top 10 for
top
sure.
10, top 10 of my favorite books. Um, because it just helps you get in a better mind frame as far as understanding whatever you're working on takes time, right? So for business, for example, like you're not going to reach that goal that you have in an unrealistic amount of time, right? If you're trying to make $100,000 in your business and you're just starting out, I mean, it's possible. Don't get me wrong, but like you want to set a more realistic expectation, and if it is within a year, you got to ask yourself how many hours are you putting into the actual business? Because if you're only working 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day, maybe even 3 hours a day, that might not be enough in order for you to for your work
Exactly.
to compound over time. Because when it comes to business, when it comes to money, and when it comes to goals in general, it's a numbers game. Like it's really a numbers game. There's really a set formula that we can all follow in order to inevitably hit our mark and our goals. Let's say, for example, you're trying to, I don't know, gain 20 pounds, right? Well, if you go to the gym for an hour and a half a day, and if you consume, 2 to 3,000 calories per day, and you go to the gym 5 6 days out the week, well, you'll probably gain, 20 pounds probably within, let's say, 12 to 15 months, depending on your body type, right? There's a formula for things that we can definitely follow, and the compound effect is definitely something that just lays it all out as far as how to really go about, setting up the right time frame and expecting a result, right? What's your thoughts on the compound effect after reading it? What's some things that you feel like the people need to hear as far as how it works, or is there anything else that you think that it
Yeah,
goes
yeah,
into,
for
or
sure,
like?
for sure, for sure. I
Mhm.
mean, honestly, I love the compound effect. I'm glad that you told me about it. I think one of the biggest key takeaways from the book that most people might not even realize is that the compound effect is always working. It's always working, right?
Facts.
Even if you don't realize it's working, like it could be working
Hmm.
towards you, it could be working in your favor, or it could be working against you. So like everything you do, right? Every habit you do, it has a compounding effect. So like whether if you go to the gym every single day, right, that's having a compound effect. If you drink a cup of coffee every single day, that's having a compound effect. If you eat a Snicker bar, right, every single day, or you smoke a pack of cigarettes every single day, right, that's having a compound effect. So everything we do have a compound effect. Now you could just make the conscious decision on, okay, if everything's going to have a compound effect, let me start consciously choosing better habits to do on a daily basis so I can really tap in to the good side of the compound effect.
Right.
Another good takeaway that I like from the book is that he gave this example of his son, right? He told his son to take a plant out of the ground, right, unroot it. The son was able to take the little small plant out easy. Then he went to a bigger plant, right? He struggled a little bit, but he was able to take it out. Then he went to a bigger plant, struggled even harder, but he finally took it out. And then his dad told him, so unroot this big tree. He looked at the tree, he was like, there's no
Mm.
way I could do that, especially after the struggle that he did to unroot the other one. So a lot of our habits are the same way, right? Like in the beginning, they're very easy to, when you see them, right, you don't really see like they have that much effect. You don't see the roots growing underneath. They're easy to unroot in the beginning, but then as more and more time goes on, right, those roots become deeper, and it's a lot, and sometimes it's harder to unroot certain habits, right, once they form. I really like that takeaway because I think that's the same thing with every good and bad habit, right? Like with bad habits, the
Hmm.
longer you do it, the harder it is to unroot. And good habits, the longer you do it with good habits, the harder it is to break that good habit. Let's imagine a person who works out every single day for 4 or 5 years, 10 years. It's going to be very hard to get that person out of the gym because they've been doing it for such a long time
Facts.
where now it's a fixed habit. Same thing with somebody who becoming a person who really gets in the flow state, right? Whatever you do, even with business and sales, once you do something so much, you make that sale to the point where it becomes like a habit. You get even better at it to the point where you could do it without even thinking. So I think
Right.
that was the biggest takeaway from the book so far. I'm actually been meaning to read it up again because I honestly I like it a lot. I feel like every single time you read a book a second time, you find something new in it that you didn't see the first time.
Yeah, that's the same thing with me too. It's just because your mindset shifts, and you're able to pick up
Hmm.
on some things that you might have missed. So, nah, facts, facts, facts. Mindset though, as far as the mindset to have, you definitely want to have a glass half full mindset. When doing anything that is difficult, there's some resilience that you need to have within yourself, right? And also some discipline. There's definitely going to be times where you don't feel like doing things in terms of your business or even some of the goals that you have for yourself. So having that resilience and having that discipline will, help you get through those days when you don't really feel like it, because you won't rely on your feelings and you won't rely on motivation alone. You will rely on the discipline that you have if it's built up over time. You know what I mean? Because discipline is way better than motivation. And I'll tell you why. Because the definition of discipline is literally doing things when you don't feel like doing it. So if you have that built up over time and you have that mindset, then you're going to get it done regardless of how you feel. So definitely having that discipline helps, being resilient and looking at the results and having a process orientation type of thinking. Because when we focus on the process instead of the results, then you're more prone to doing things, right? If I focus on going to the gym instead of trying to put on weight, then I'll be more prone to going to the gym, right? Because it takes me going to the gym to actually gain weight versus just thinking I need to gain weight, I need to gain weight. Then I'm looking in the mirror and I'll be a
Hmm.
little bit hard on myself, you know what I mean, as far as trying to reach
Hmm.
that result. But if I'm focused on the process, then I know exactly what I need to do. I just need to get in that gym. You understand what I'm saying? Same thing with your business. Whether you're in sales or whatever the case may be, make those calls. Like I said, it's a number game. It's a numbers game. So if you're wanting to have 3 sales per month, and for every 200 people, you get a caller on the phone or you get a potential sale, and you need to start calling hella people. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a numbers game. And you need to focus on making quality calls versus being focused on closing those 3 people and trying to get that sale. So
Facts.
those are some of the things as far as having a mindset that I wanted to give. You got anything on mindset, Hugh?
Man, I could go into mindset all day, bro. I could really go into mindset all day about how like your mindset is really gonna determine the outcome of your reality. Like
Hmm.
two people could be going through the same exact situation, but depending on how what your perspective is, whether you're pessimistic or optimistic, whether you're positive or negative, can really be the determining factor of whether that situation works to help you or hurt you. And a lot of situations that we go through, we're going through them so it can help us. It's just in the moment it might feel like it's hurting. All right, so you definitely
Right.
want to develop a very iron body mindset. Honestly, I think everybody knows what a positive and good mindset is. You just got to work at it, right? Like we're not born intrinsically positive. Honestly, in fact, we're
Hmm.
actually born negative, right? We're actually born to focus on the negative. We're actually born to focus on all the things in our environment that could pose a risk or could hurt us, right? Just because we had to evolve over time. But now, if you're able to just consciously, right, take control of that primal brain and shift it and focus on more positive and good outcomes, I'm telling you right now, if you can start looking at the silver lining in situations, you'll find it for sure. You gotta just look for it. Gotta just look for it. So,
I,
honestly, this is a
I
really,
agree.
really, this is a lot of good sauce so far right now, Trey. Man, I mean, I mean, there's more stuff that I could talk about right now. I don't know if there's anything else you want to give them real quick before we close out. You let me
Let
know,
me give
man.
them one more thing, bro. I'm going to drop a bomb on y'all. For anybody who's struggling with the mindset shift and who's struggling to look at life positively, just like you said, a lot of us are operating off of our primal brains. And what a primal brain is when we used to have to. I don't believe in like certain things like the Big Bang theory. And I don't believe that we came from monkeys or whatever. But there's scientific theories that we came from Neanderthals and early human development. Let's just start there. They had to have survival instinct, right? And that has been passed down genetically to today to where it's innate in us. It is literally in our DNA to have that instinct, right? That survival instinct. And I don't know anybody out there if you're spiritual or not, but in terms of your spiritual systems in your body, your chakras, that's in your root chakra, having that survival instinct, right? So anybody who is living in survivor mode, y'all don't even understand that your mindset is living in lack, right? You're living in lack. You're constantly in survivor mode. You're not having an abundance mindset. I'll give you an example. Someone who's in a survival mindset might say that I can't go to this event, or I can't go out with my family because I can't afford it, or there might be a dangerous occurrence. Someone dealing with trauma, right? They might say that. When in all reality, that's just their perception, and that's their reality that they're living based on some of the traumatic events that happen in their life, and they're holding themselves back from experiencing different things and experiencing different opportunities based on how they're looking at life. They have a glasses lens of lack, right? And they need to take that off and put a glasses lens of abundance on. And how you can do that is having a mindset shift, right? You can literally, it's called a paradigm shift. And what that means is you're literally changing the way on how you operate. You're changing the way from lack and survival to abundance and power, right? And positivity. Just like you said, the same person could be looking at a picture and someone sees something totally different. I'm not trying to stay too long on this, but if you guys want more information on this exact subject that I'm talking about, Joe Dispenza is your guy. This is how I learned about all of this. There's a few other gurus out there who teach about your mindset, your subconscious, and your conscious. I didn't have too much time to dive into that, but mindset is very important in terms of attracting the things that we want. So we need to really be mindful of how we're looking at life, because if you're constantly consumed with negative thinking and negative thoughts, your reality will mirror that. If you want to change your reality, you need to consume positive thoughts. You need to be consumed with positive thinking. You need to be around a positive environment. You need to be operating in power and abundance, right? This is your higher self. These are your higher chakras, right? That's all I got, man. I got way more to drop. I ain't gonna lie, we gotta do part 4, bro.
For real, we do. It's just so much. It's just so
So
much.
much.
So much that not only that we know that we could give them for sure, but we'll definitely we'll put a pin in it for right now. That just means that we got more content. That we got a part 4 on the way, a free game, right? We might
Sure.
go even a little bit more into like the subconscious mind. And how it works. But so far, this is a good sauce, right? For anybody really ready to start a business or trying to get into entrepreneurship, this is the episode to watch. All right, take everything that we said, right? Rewatch this episode maybe 1, 2, 3 times, right? Get a notepad out. I know we definitely said a lot, and sped through a lot of information that we might have wanted to go more in depth in. But as long as you take some notes, you start starring it and start doing some research on the things we talked about, right? Looking at things from more of a positive mindset, making sure yourself is prepared, and tapping into that compound effect. I think anybody who's ready to start a business 2024, yeah, you definitely starting in the right ballpark by tuning into this episode.
I want to add one last thing, and I'll try to rush it. When you're trying to change anything in your life, trying to start a new business, trying to change or bad habits, old habits, you need to become a whole entire different person. Let's take a name, Rick, for example, right? Rick has a tendency of waking up, going to the bathroom, watching TV, and then for the rest of the day, he talks on the phone, right? But Rick is he's trying to really get in shape. He's trying to start a business, and he's trying to show up for his family more. Rick, you need to stop identifying with this guy who wakes up, talk on the phone, and sit on the couch, because that has become the person you are since you developed that habit for so long. You literally need to disrupt your whole entire persona, your whole entire makeup of a person, and claim something new. And it's gonna be so uncomfortable. It's gonna be so hard to do this. It's not that hard. I ain't saying it's rocket science, but as far as building the habit to become that new person that you aspire to be, it's going to take baby steps at first, and you may go back into the old habits, but you literally need to take on a whole new mindset to change and to become a new person. So that's the last thing I wanted to drop. We probably got another whole episode of talking about the subconscious and conscious mind and some other things as well. I'm really liking this free game dialogue, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I like dropping jewels on people, and I want you guys to comment and let us know what you think in the comments. Let us know any other topics you guys want us to discuss. But other than that, definitely like, share, and subscribe. And check out the description. We'll probably have a few links for you guys in the description. But other than that, man, it was definitely a fire episode. Let us know what you think again.
Yes, sir.
Anything else before we conclude?
Nah, honestly, that's it. That's it. You said everything for me. All right. With that being said, till the next episode. All right. Stay blessed, stay beautiful, and stay powerful. Peace.
Yes, sir. Peace out to the people.